I announced that I had to leave. My friend sitting in the corner, exasperated, asked me why. To study, I said. I've got a lot to do tonight. Adam, he stopped me again. Do you really like school? Do I like school, I answered, or do I like learning? My friend thought a minute and then said, well, I guess there's a difference. The feeling that school is a form of punishment is very popular right now. Another acquaintance of mine put it to me this way. He said, Adam, you shouldn't let school control your life the way you do. School robs you of your freedom and stifles your creativity. It's all the system, man. You've got to fight for power. As cliche and silly as this sounds, a large part of the population obviously shares these feelings. The symptoms of this deception can more readily be found out of state, but are in town as well. These include vandalism, in-school crime, or simply student resistance to attendance. How did these discrepancies between teachers and students arise? For most, it seems the cause for quarrel is simply that they are required to attend, required being synonymous with forced. But if you were to probe further into the tensions that exist between teachers and students, you may find that these feelings arise from inherent problems in the way information has been taught in the classroom. School teaches imitation. It's very difficult to convey information any other way. Patterns have since been created, molds have been set. Thinking, it seems, has been held secondary to good recreation or disguised copying. However, it is the dissatisfaction with such teaching methods that has prompted so much of the positive reform we are seeing in education today. Teddy Roosevelt's statements, tonight's theme on program, that paraphrased by me saying that it is the people doing the work that deserve the credit. It is the people who are trying to change things that deserve the credit. I think that the teacher that loves his or her subject and cares for the growth of his or her students, is worth more than we can pay them. At the same time, I don't think you can get rid of a bad teacher fast enough, because it is in the classroom of such a teacher that these tensions arise. I guess it's almost smart that we pay teachers so little, because anybody who wasn't really interested in being a good teacher would be nuts to accept such a low-paying job. No matter how good a teacher is, the person posing as the student will determine their effectiveness. It's not what someone gives you, it's what you put into it, I think. Khalil Gibran, when writing on teaching, said, "For the vision of one man lends not its wings to another." I would like to add on that to say that the vision of one man can lend its wings to another if the other wishes to acquire them. High school for me has been a period of growth. All of my personal philosophies have undergone revision, and last month I hit puberty. I've often lived by the credo that you can determine a person's status as either dynamic or static by the frequency with which they alter their hair color or length. I guess I should abandon this credo or accept that I haven't changed much my senior year. The command of the oracle at Delphi to know thyself is the best advice I have ever heard for teenagers, in that the opinions we express during our high school years are so often those of somebody else. When I was in grade school, I remember my perception of high school was a lot like a containment unit, or walking down the wrong hall and then getting beat up by the gang. And resistance to drug dealers meant having your head pulled back and your nose plugged until you were forced to open up and become addicted. The only survivors of this prison was the football team and the few wise teachers who kept their eyes closed and their mouths shut. Little did I suspect that Dixon Middle School would be exactly like that. Provo High was more like my grade school in comparison. The difference between history in Provo High and my grade school, of course, being the host of decisions we have had to make. Oftentimes we gave our freedom to make these decisions away to our friends, or worse, to the media. The responsibility of choice seems undesirable in the face of popular acceptance. Well, I'm glad that we had the time and the opportunity for the experimentation. Hopefully, we have been successful and come out with our own distinct opinions and ideas, because I think that the ideal society is one composed entirely of leaders and equals, where because an individual can nurture his own growth, he can contribute to the growth of others. If I could return to the living room where my friend asked me if I liked school, I would tell him, yes, I liked school. I liked it because I learned so much about myself, other people, and academics. But then I would tell him what my father told me. Never let school get in the way of your education. Or in other words, don't get hung up on the inconveniences and discrepancies of high school or any other large-scale system. Rather, take it upon yourself to learn patience by enduring them and appreciating your opportunity to grow and to learn and respecting those who helped you to do so. I would like to end my speech with a paraphrasation of Robert Persinger that I feel is applicable to all kinds of students, which means applicable to everybody. Peace of mind produces right values. Right values produce right thoughts. Right thoughts produce right actions, and right actions produce work, which will be a physical representation of the serenity and wisdom at the center of it all. Thanks.
The doctrine was that success belongs to those who find the power to adapt, not only to their environment, but to the contemporary vices of society with which they are faced. Roosevelt was also an avid proponent of the struggle to adapt. He stated that those who, quote, strive valiantly, unquote, to exist in society disregarding the speculative cynics and daring to fail will, quote, best know in the end the triumph of high achievement. Each one of us has participated personally or vicariously in the process of adaptation and change. In the 4 short years of our high school careers, we have witnessed the collapse of communism, numerous wars for power and ethnocentric domination, a profusion of natural disasters, and most recently, the coming together of a nation formerly torn by racism and graft. We as the class of 1994, more specifically, have experienced free school administration, foreign attendance policies, a variety of schedules, and restructuring and construction have been with us from our 8th grade year at Dixon Middle School. Consistency and status quo seem unrealistic to us. But, as social Darwinism suggests, the survivors of change are most fit for society. However, our national society is beginning to show alarming signs of dissolution. Let me talk a little bit about that. We cannot deny the moral challenge being hurled at individualism and character daily. This challenge is intensified because our country is changing in a variety of ways that compel many to question the very fundamentals and legitimacy of the Western Enlightenment or the values of personal freedom upon which this country was founded. The very moral fiber of the individual citizenry of this nation cannot and will not be subsidized by government. As Dr. Wilson, BYU commencement speaker, stated, the great motto of this nation, e pluribus unum, out of many, one, threatens even today to be legislated out of existence, being replaced by e unis pluribus, out of one, many. We need not look any farther than our healthcare situation. Government did not make us what we are, and it cannot remake us. Yet, in reply to the perennial cynic, these alarming signs are better advertised than our successes. As a result of the changes not only in the world but here at Provo High School, each graduate here today is better individually prepared and now knows the triumph of high achievement, even when many said it was impossible. Graduation speakers are expected to urge you to pursue the impossible dream, rise to the greatest challenge, and excel to the loftiest ambitions. I will refrain from this idealism. It is too empty, and it is too easy. The easiest thing to do in life is to endorse high-flown philosophies, sign momentous petitions, and support a mere great cause. The hardest thing to do, and every day it becomes more difficult, is to strive valiantly to exercise individual integrity at school and in the community, which would not allow its partisans to set their honor, honesty, or moral values on the shelf and take them down only when it is convenient for that person or in their own best immediate interest. To turn away from government as the moral master and conscience of its people, and strengthen the rarity of the family which can withstand the buffetings of modern society. The individuals who can withstand these challenges and survive are the heroes of everyday life. May we join their ranks. Thank you very much.
A young man hikes upward along the side of the canyon, the sun cresting along the back mountain, throwing the shadow of the canyon wall to the bottom of the valley floor below. As he hikes, he thinks to himself, life is like the mountains, a steady, steep incline. For some, they are steeper than for others. There are challenges we all must face to either conquer or fail. As he glances down beyond this figure on the valley floor, he notices a very large, steep incline etched in his shadow. He knows he has made a lot of progress, but the shadow represents the largest, hardest climb still ahead of him. High school is one of these steep inclines that comes across all our paths. It's a challenge offered to every young person in America. Most people accept the challenge and achieve. Some give up and no longer progress. A friend once told me that if one is not walking forward or progressing, he is just standing still in life, which in reality is actually moving backwards. I completely agree with this statement, as many of you probably do also. I say this because we are all here today graduating from the first steep incline that has presented itself in our lives. We didn't stop. We crested the incline, ready to take on the next one. We are progressing, and we are achieving. Today's credit is given to us, you and me, the students who fought the battle to the very end. Along the way, there were times when life didn't seem like it was going anywhere, when we weren't sure whether to grab the handle on the right, the one on the left, or just let go and slip back down the path we had just taken. Some of us slipped, some a little bit more than others, forcing us to climb twice as fast and twice as hard to reach the stone we're stepping on today. Not only did I slip, as all people do at some point, I fell into the chasm of drugs and alcohol. But for those of you who have slipped or fallen, who got back up and are here graduating today, you're the ones who I commend the most. One of Provo High's teachers has a sign on her wall that states, "You are on the road to success when you realize that failure is merely a detour. Success consists of getting up just one more time than you've fallen." This statement sums it up. There's just one rule, one law for success: getting up just one more time than you've fallen. I first heard that quote a couple of years ago, and I thought, what if you can't get up? What if you just can't handle the climb anymore? Then what do you do? It took me 2 years to find the answer to that question, which is actually quite simple. You ask for help. For most people, myself included, this is very difficult. But that's what teachers are here for, to help. They help us learn, they help us grow, they help us get up after the latest fall. Each of us has had teachers who influenced and assisted us in our own personal climb, who encouraged and supported as we struggled forward. It's teachers who teach with enthusiasm and spirit, the kind of teachers who make their classes so fun and exciting you really don't want to miss even one day. They make learning fun because they love to teach. These are the kinds of teachers that each of us are indebted to, who have enriched and changed our lives. Parents also fall into this category of helpers. Perhaps the Parent-Teacher Association should adopt the same mission statement as the Peace Corps, because I really do think that teaching and parenting are the toughest job you'll ever love. Without teachers and parents to help and support us, none of us would be here today. We did have our fun times through high school. We also learned the important and not just academic lessons that will arm us for the rest of our lifelong climb. Again, I think the teachers and the parents, most of all, I'm proud of and congratulate the graduating class of Provo High School, 1994. Everybody have a raging summer. Keep climbing.
We entered high school in 1990 as freshmen looking for heroes. In our 4 years at Provo High, there were many heroes to be found. Our student body president, Katie B. Knight, was constantly in the arena. Whenever a Bulldog team faced an opponent on the field or the court, Katie was close by, making her presence known. Katie was there, not because it was her job. She was there for the same reasons we elected her as our president. Real pride in our class and great school spirit. For all students who know her, Mrs. Price is a hero of Provo High. She works hundreds of extra hours with students for the Make It Look Well contest, and also is an involved advisor for FHA. I look to Mrs. Price as a hero because of her humanitarian efforts as a temporary resident of Romania. She did not forget about the country's plight upon returning to comfortable Provo, but rather campaigned effectively for continued humanitarian aid for Romania. Many students at Provo High, some graduating tonight, came to the United States from foreign countries knowing little or no English. My high school experience would have been much more difficult and frustrating if I had been faced with communication barriers they conquered. Imagine yourself in a foreign country, looking for the right word, hurrying, and coming short again and again. Foreign students put forth heroic efforts. We all have our personal heroes among those who spend themselves in pursuit of a cause. Right now, the whole world is focused on Nelson Mandela, the newly elected president of South Africa. His cause has been to fight for the end of South African apartheid. His loyalty to the people he represents and his persistence in pursuing his goal even landed him 27 years of political imprisonment. Mandela's face is indeed marred by dust and sweat and blood. But Mandela, at last, is tasting the triumph of high achievement as his Rainbow Nation begins an era of equality. Theodore Roosevelt, whose words we quote in our graduation theme, was heroic in his efforts to overcome asthma and a sickly childhood existence. His father told Teddy that he had the mind, but had not the body. And without the help of the body, the mind could not go as far as it should. Teddy then accepted the challenge to make his body. He worked out tirelessly in the gym above his garage, making himself a new, stronger body with which he would eventually ride the frontier and succeed in the rough political environment of New York. Roosevelt's success was a result of accepting a challenge and embracing what he would later call the strenuous life. My father had a situation similar to Roosevelt's. He was struck by polio as a high school football player. After the disease had done its damage, lifting weights to gain strength was impossible for him. Instead, he focused on his studies, and especially math and physics. He accepted the challenge to make his mind what his body could not be. Eventually, he got his doctorate in physics at Harvard. I look to my father as a towering hero who also grew through a mentally strenuous life. Many of us can look to our parents as heroes. Katie has motivated us to have more pride in our school. With similar enthusiasm, we can motivate others to take pride in their community or country. Foreign students stretch their capacities by learning new material in a new language. With similar daring, we will master the new language of our chosen professions. Mrs. Price, with her dedication in teaching and service, Mandela, with his focus and willingness to sacrifice, our parents, in their efforts to rise to a challenge, all are heroes who motivate us to join them in the arena. Theodore Roosevelt gave us a description and an example to follow of a bold hero who does not back away from the strenuous life. By aspiring to Roosevelt's description of a credible hero, we can be heroes for those generations who follow us at Provo High School. As seniors graduating in 1994, we can leave as aspiring heroes looking for our working cause.
Adams.
Ahoy. Amy Alexander.
David Alabam. Karen Allen. Sharon Allen. Cameron D. Anderson. Henry Archer. Dorinda Azella Ayala. Deborah L. Barney. Vance Barrett. David Berry. Peter L. Bauman. Brenda J. Baxter. Eric Bayless.
Rachel Carver. Seth M. Childs. Elizabeth Collins with high honors.
Jared Adrian Marie Duquesne. Ross. Karen Furman. With high honors, Tannen J. Nugent.
April Jess. Heidi L. Kellyanne Hamilton. Honors Kristen Hillen. With honors Brianna Ducey. With high honors Christina Hudson.
Tyler B. Key. With high honors, Alicia Ann. With honors, Katie B. Ladd. Kirsten Knudsen. High honors, Philip M. Nelson. With honors, Stephanie Wood.
With honors Adam Regelovich.
With high honors, Samuel A. Spears. With due, Leanne Stevenson. Allison Heather. High honors, Marcel Walcott. With honors, Rachel Whitaker.